We at Filmjet are back with another episode, and this time we are talking about one of my favorite shows of recent memory. It's been making a lot of waves on the internet. There's been a whole lot of memes. Just a whole lot of talk about this show, and I'm so glad that it's getting a lot of mainstream attention because this show is truly insane. So,
Insane.
what are we talking about today?
Well, we're definitely talking about the boys. I don't know what else we could be talking about. Yeah, this show is completely unhinged. They just don't care. They're just going for it. And I actually can't believe that they've gained the traction that they've gotten so far because this show is absolutely ridiculous. They're really going for it, like you said, firing on all cylinders, and it's just such a unique take on a superhero show. If you don't know the boys or you never heard of the boys, honestly, I would actually listen no further, go directly to Amazon Prime and stream it because you're missing out. And
And
plus, you
we
don't
will
want.
be spoiling.
Yeah, we're gonna be spoiling heavy. So if
Just
you like,
like we're not pulling any punches right now, the show did not pull any punches at all. Some of the most insane things I've ever seen on a TV have happened on this show.
yeah, that's for sure.
And right in the beginning of season three, I mean, it's hilarious that these people pay attention to the internet and what's going on because we all know about the meme about Endgame and how everybody said Ant-Man could defeat Thanos. So the boys, they think, okay, well, we have this crazy thing. How can we take it even further? And of course, what do they do? Right
Start
in the
off
beginning of the first episode of season three.
start off the season with a bang. We're introduced to a powered individual named Termite who has the the power set equivalent to Ant Man of the Marvel universe, and he is engaging in sexual relations with a partner of his, where he is his partner is telling him he wants him to enter him, but not the way you're thinking. He wants him to shrink down and literally enter through the tip of his penis. And
Is there even a
um,
clean way to say that? I mean,
I honestly no. There's honestly no clean way to explain this. So pretty much, yeah, he entered through the tip, and what then happened is before he entered, he just sniffed, I believe, some cocaine, if I'm not mistaken, and it was aggravating his nose, and he sneezed. And as he sneezed, he actually grew back to normal size, and his partner exploded.
yeah, completely destroyed this man.
Yeah, into a bloody mess. And honestly, the characters in the show reacted the same way that I reacted, and I'm pretty sure the same way you reacted. So
Yeah.
it was definitely a very gruesome way to start a season, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's funny because we've already seen two seasons of this show with plenty of crazy stuff, but they still find a way to blow your mind. The whole time I was watching it, I just kept thinking, I can't believe they're actually doing this.
Yo,
And guess what? They did it, and they show everything. There's blood splattering all over the place, body parts all over the place.
yeah,
It is just disgusting.
and like this
But
is nothing new. Like the
no,
people exploding left and right from season 1 to 3, but it's
yeah.
just the way that this particular situation went about that was just like, okay, like this is ridiculous. But the season like didn't stop there. It actually got crazier and crazier as the episodes went on. But yeah, this season was actually one of my favorite seasons of. I think actually I enjoyed this season the most of the boys. It really explored the characters in like the more developed stages. So like all these characters have gone through a bit of character development. Like you know who the characters are and everything. You know like how each one thinks and how each one behaves and who's allied with who. And I really like this season because I feel like it tested a lot of the relationships that we've seen grow so far in the show. And some of them ended off not so good, and some of them ended up even stronger than they were before. So it was very interesting to see how new characters bounced off each other and how old interactions grew stronger or how some older interactions even broke apart. So it's cool. What do you think about the season as a whole?
Man, I loved it. Just like you said, pretty much every character had a very meaningful moment. They didn't really waste any time with anybody. And and it's a TV show, so there's a big cast of characters, and they really know how to use each one well. Everybody kind of has an arc and it's meaningful. It's not just nonsense or filler. It's all meaningful to the show in some
Right.
way. And I really like how they do that. Because a lot of times in a show, you might be thinking, well, why haven't we seen this person or that person in a long time? But in this show, they really do a good job of giving everybody their time to shine, even though it's mainly Butcher and Homelander are the main characters, but you get enough of everybody. So if your favorite is somebody else, you'll see them.
Right. Yeah, the show really does a good job of like giving everybody, giving each character like a really cool moment that's memorable for that character. So it's not like any character is really forgotten. And I feel like at this point in the show, you really have like that one like focused core of characters that are always going to be around. That you're like, oh man, like I wonder if anything's gonna happen to this character, or if like this character is still gonna be here by the end of the season, or
Hmm.
like who's gonna die or like, who's gonna kill who, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
and surprisingly, like we didn't lose anybody big this season.
yeah, we did.
Who?
Well, hopefully not.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully not.
Maybe rest in peace to Irving, aka Black Noir. Was definitely one of my favorite characters since season one. He really would steal the show in any scene that he was in. And we finally got to see his backstory, where he came from, what he looked like under the mask,
Yeah.
or at least beforehand. But yeah, we really got to see more of Black Noir this season. I really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, we saw Homelander rip his guts out in the end. So
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he's not dead. I saw something where the showrunner came out and said that there's going to be a different version of Black Noir. So I hope it's the same person. I hope it's Irving that's not dead
Right.
and he comes back in some way, shape, or form. But if not, it's going to be a new person that's wearing the Black Noir costume and he's going to have a different personality, which
Mm.
I'm fine with too. I don't think the show is gonna suffer, but I just want to see more of my guy Irving. That's all. So Black Noir was he like the biggest death of this season? I
Yeah,
think he
Black Noir
was.
was definitely like the biggest loss that like the main core took this season. It was a few scares though. I'm not gonna lie. Like I thought that Kamiko was gonna die.
Yeah, I was getting nervous, man.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna die, and then who else I think was gonna die? I don't know. Oh, I thought Maeve was gonna die too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I thought
yeah,
I thought I thought Maeve was for sure dead in the end there, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, she wasn't. Actually, you know what? You know what's funny is that like between the two sides, like if you were to split up the sides between like the seven and like the boys, I feel like the seven had more scares on their side in terms of who was gonna die than like the boys did. You know what
They
I
did,
mean?
they
It's
did.
like because
Because A
everybody had a
Train almost
scare.
died like 50 times.
Yeah. A Train almost died, Maeve almost died, Black Noir died, apparently. And
Yeah,
then Homelander almost died.
Homelander almost got cooked, bro. It was
Yo,
whooping his behind.
I
Yo, all
know.
right, all right. So, what are the craziest moments in this show? And you could even say stuff from season one and two, because we already talked about the first thing that happened with Termite.
Okay.
I got to bring up the moment where The politician lady. What's the politician lady name?
Oh, yeah, Victoria Newman.
Yeah, when she crushed that guy's head and she only got the bottom half and he was still alive.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And they like showed his whole jawline just collapsed. And
yeah.
they were even showing the muscles like moving in his neck. It was so gross.
Yeah, it was nasty. I'm
So
not gonna lie.
gross. So I gotta mention that one.
But you said all 3 seasons?
Yeah, you can mention anyone from any season.
Yo, honestly,
Because there's a
okay,
lot.
so honestly, when I first watched the show, like when I first put the show on to watch, and like episode one, Huey, who's one of the main characters, he was working at his video store, right?
Well, yeah, the opening of the show, of
Yo,
course.
the opening of the show, like Robin, who is his girlfriend, came to visit him at work, or I guess he was getting off work, and he was on the sidewalk, and Robin was on the curb, and A Train zooms past and runs straight through Robin, and Robin is nothing but a bloody mess on the street.
They showed all that too.
Yo, and like the way that like the blood was like across like Huey's face and the hands were
Yeah,
still
he was
in
still
Huey's
holding her
hands.
hands.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this show is crazy. That was
Yeah,
like
even and at that moment too, when they were showing the slow motion part and you could see all of the like blood and guts floating in the air. You
right.
could see like little bones and stuff in there.
Yeah.
They really get really detailed with the gore, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. Yo, there's one scene, right? I don't know if this is that crazy or not. No, actually, it was pretty crazy to me. All right, so in season two, Homelander and Stormfront, they had like this little love affair, and like they were going by and stopping like petty thieves and stuff. It wasn't even like the people they were stopping, like it wasn't even like supervillains or anything. And there was
Hmm.
one guy that was like, "All right, just let me go, or like I'll go to jail, right?" And then Homelander is kissing Stormfront, and like he's leaning on this guy's head, and then like the guy's like, "You're crushing my head," and then the guy's head just pops, and Homelander's there kissing Stormfront, and he doesn't even care.
Hmm.
That scene was pretty crazy to me. I
Yeah,
thought.
that was pretty amazing. I also got to say, when the team was going through that place with all the superheroes, I don't remember if it was a asylum. It was like the place where they were experimenting on suits, and MM got attacked by the guy with the I can't even think of a way to say this without cursing, or not really cursing, but the guy with the super dick. What's that
Oh,
guy's name? What's his
oh
real
yeah, yeah,
name?
yeah.
His name
Yo,
is
it's called
Love Sausage.
Love Sausage. Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
what I should have said. When MM got attacked by Love Sausage,
Oh yeah. Yo,
that
that's
was pretty
that's
crazy.
crazy because like I didn't even peep that it was the same dude.
Oh yeah, and
That
Hero has him, right?
Yeah, and Herogasm. That's actually crazy.
Yeah,
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 that scene was nuts though. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
Like the vibes in season two were like dark. Season two is
yeah,
very
yeah.
dark. Yeah, I kind of liked it though. I like how like this season they were able to like brighten it up a bit, but like
Hmm.
in a weird way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it wasn't as dark, but like it still had the same kind of effect, like the
yeah.
same like wow factor. Yeah,
Definitely
I'm.
got to say when Pop Claw killed the guy when he was, when they were having a little thing going
Oh yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. I remember that. This show is actually very crazy. It's super unhinged.
I'm really just amazed at the creativity half the time.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, like I know a lot of the source material comes from the comic.
But they change a lot too.
Yeah, they do change a lot, and they do like their own adaptations to it, and which I do appreciate too. Like I honestly appreciate that with like all storytelling. Like people are like, oh, isn't like the movie's nothing like the book, but honestly, like, why would you want it to be? You know what I mean? Like, why would
Yeah,
you
I
want it to be
definitely I
exactly like the
definitely
book?
get both sides
Yeah,
of that argument. I mean, as long as it's good, because usually the book is still always going to be better than the movie, and
right.
that's why I think they should always adapt books into TV shows. But that's a whole different conversation. But in this case, I don't really like the comics of the boys. I think it's terrible. I mean, I've seen some of it, and just the writing and stuff that's going on in the boys comics is just terrible. So I'm glad that the show changed a lot because they really just took the overall concept and they're kind of using some things that happen in the comics, but not really. And I think it's working out to the best of them because the comics, they were just trying so hard just to be edgy and they were just doing stuff for the sake of doing it instead of having it actually serve a purpose in the story. The show always has something serve a purpose in the story.
Right.
Like
And then
they're never just violent or gory just because like, oh, look at us, we can blow a guy's face off. I mean, which is cool, but there's always a moment. And since we're talking about crazy moments too, the whole moment with the giant whale when the deep runs into the whale, it's like a running joke in the show, right? Where every time the deep tries to save an animal, he ends up killing it.
yeah, the
It's
deep
always a
sucks.
reason. Feel me?
Yeah.
So that's really what I think makes this show even better is everything has a purpose. And I love the crazy moments, but it fits.
Right, it does fit.
And that thing about the
100%.
whale too, I was looking at some of the behind the scenes stuff. That was real. They actually built a giant whale, and even the inside of it was a real set from the same set as the outside. It's
Wow.
actually insane. They really built a giant whale they could walk around in. It's just crazy.
I actually saw this video online. It was these two girls that got eaten by a whale. The whale spit them out. It was funny. Like
Yeah.
they were in like a kayak or something like that.
Oh, I think
It
I
was
seen
actually
that
wild.
video. I seen that
Yeah.
video. Because whales don't eat like big animals like that. They don't eat big fish. They eat krill.
Right.
So if it accidentally swallows something or gets something in his mouth that's big, it's not gonna keep it.
Wait,
It
I
is
want to
scary.
learn about the comic book adaptations, right, and how they switched up a lot of stuff. And that brings me to like one of my favorite things about this season, which was Soldier Boy. They
Soldier Boy is amazing.
they finally introduced a new character named Soldier Boy, a character who pretty much is almost about like the same power level, power set as Homelander. Somebody who can go toe to toe with Homelander. And I thought the introduction of the character was brilliant because, first of all, I thought that the adaptation of the character from who he was in the comics was cool too because I feel like in the comics he wasn't as strong as he is in the show. And he also didn't play the same part that he did in the show. So, but I really like this character, especially the way they introduced him. It's kind of like a play on like Captain America, the Winter Soldier. He was almost like Captain America and the Winter Soldier
Yeah,
in
he's
his
almost like
face.
both in one.
Yeah,
I mean, the
which was like
personality, well, his suit and stuff is more like Captain America, but how they keep making him go to sleep and they keep waking him up is like Winter Soldier.
right. So it was really cool. They were so pretty much like the setup was like, okay, Homelander needs to be taken care of, and I heard there's like a weapon that can do that, like a weapon that can actually, actually kill Homelander. And when they go to find the weapon actually turns out to be Soldier Boy who's frozen in stasis. So I like that episode because it revealed a lot. It revealed Soldier Boy. It revealed what his new power set is. It was the reveal of Butcher's powers to the group and Huey's
Hmm.
powers to the group. What was happening in the episode?
That was when they first revealed that they took the Compound V, the temporary Compound V,
Right, the temporary V,
and
yeah.
Kimiko got hit with one of Soldier Boy's blasts. And the thing
Oh,
about that was that took away any suit's powers. So from that point, Kimiko didn't have her powers anymore. Since if you watch the show, you know that she's strong and she has a really good healing factor. So she could get stabbed, shot, whatever. She just heals right up. And in that moment, she wasn't healing. So she almost died. And the crazy part about it was everybody's kind of worried about Kimiko. Like, if they weren't driving the van, they was in the back trying to do medical stuff. And then you have Huey, who was really just like looking out the window, smiling because he was just so intoxicated by having the powers that it was really sending him on a terrible path. Like
yo,
I was really nervous. I was like, "Yo, is Huey like about to go off the deep end or something?" Because he is
honestly, it
tripping
was a
right
great
now.
scene. It
Yeah.
was it was a great scene because it showed Compound V is a drug, right? And like, some drugs come with like certain addictive properties. So like
Right. We saw it
Huey,
with A-Train before.
right. So we were able to see like I like how like realistic like the show tries to make things. Like how they show how like Huey was like really enjoying the high of like being like that powerful for some time. And I don't know if it was just like high off the power, like he was on a power trip, or if it was like feeling of the compound E coursing through his veins, because you can actually see it glowing under his skin.
Yeah.
And that was a great scene because there's some people that can handle like when they take drugs and stuff, and some people who really just may enjoy it like too much, and get addicted. So it was cool. It was cool to see like Butcher, who was kind of like handling himself, and then Huey, who was like obviously like enjoying himself too much.
That man was lost in the sauce for a second.
Yeah. So one thing about the power set, right?
He was able to
Huey's
teleport.
yeah, he's able to teleport, except like he couldn't teleport with clothing. Like he can only
Yeah,
teleport.
that's the funniest thing about the show is that
Yeah.
everybody's powers is so realistic. They always do as close as they could do it in real life, because
Right.
you always see in a show or a movie if someone was able to teleport, then they would teleport with their clothes. But how does that even make sense? It would
Right.
just work on your body. It wouldn't work on the clothes. Same thing with translucent. He could turn invisible, but you can't turn your clothes invisible. So he has to walk around naked.
Yo. Okay. So I'm glad you said that, right? Because there's something weird about the way you can't choose what powers you get when you take Compound V. Like it's pretty much just like a toss up or whatnot, or a lottery of whatever power. So it was actually strange to see that like Butcher's power set that he got with the Compound V was similar to that of Homelander's, except for the fact that he can't fly. So he pretty much had the super strength. He had the
Laser
super
eye.
strength and the laser eyes that Homelander has. The only thing is that Homelander can fly. It's funny that you said translucent and the fact that he can't wear clothes, because Huey was actually the one that killed translucent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
And then he
I
became sort of like translucent.
right. And honestly, like I didn't think about that until now. But like I was thinking that Huey's power was supposed to make him similar, or at least like being able to fight like somebody like A-Train. Because I feel like somebody who can teleport versus like a speedster, those are kind of like two powers that would really go head to head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it that way, but honestly, the translucent idea, I'm leaning more towards that now. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I honestly didn't really see like a hidden meaning behind Huey's powers.
Uh huh.
But you know what's funny? See, I'm thinking now about other heroes and stuff. Did you ever read the explanation for why Nightcrawler teleports with his clothes?
No.
Oh my goodness, it's so ridiculous because he apparently like teleports a little bit of the stuff around him, and when he teleports, he actually goes into another dimension and then comes back out of it. It's so ridiculous. It's like, come on, guys. You couldn't just write him to teleport with his clothes. You had to make up a stupid thing.
Wait, actually, you know what? I think I've heard of that before. I think I've heard that explanation before.
It's just so ridiculous. It's funny. But, that's comics for you.
This was like the first season that we saw like a lot of these characters in action in like a fighting other character sense. You know what I mean? A lot of the violence that has been done from character to character so far has really been done off screen. You know what I mean? Except for like certain moments that are really like suspenseful. But I feel like this season was really action packed in terms of
Yeah.
the combat that was on screen that we got to see as viewers. You know what I mean?
hmm Man, that
And
moment when Kimiko saved the girls from that Russian place,
yo, yeah,
insane. Insane.
I was like, yo, action this season is like 10 out of 10. It's 10 out of 10. I
Yeah,
was
this
like,
season was crazy.
yeah, that was probably one of Kimiko's like best fight
hmm
scenes. I honestly think that Hero Gasm episode 6 was the best episode
Yeah, that
this season.
episode just had a lot going on, and that was one that I was anticipating because leading up to season 3, one of the writers came out and said, "Well, y'all dared us to do Hero-gasm, and we did it." So I always knew that the Hero-gasm episode was coming. So I had knew about Hero-gasm from the comics, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, this episode is going to be so insane." And when it did finally come around, it was insane, but
Yo,
in a different way. I thought it was actually just going to be like an hour long X-rated thing,
yeah,
but it actually delivered way differently. There was action, there was character moments, and the hero gas and stuff was actually pretty tame compared to what I
yeah,
expected.
right.
And the
Well,
biggest
honestly,
moment, of course, was the big fight with Homelander, Butcher, and Soldier Boy, and
yeah,
Hewitt. That
crazy.
moment was so insane. I probably watched it like 5 times after. I mean,
Yo,
it was
no,
crazy.
that episode is definitely stuck on repeat for me because the action was sick. The set was cool. I feel like everything just really worked that episode. Like the fact that Soldier Boy, his trigger was the so you know how like with the Winter Soldier, his trigger was that Russian poem that
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Zemo would read. Okay,
yeah.
so it's like for Soldier Boy, his trigger was like whenever he listened to Russian music. It was actually odd the way that it was so common playing Russian pop at a party in the United States. Yeah, so I'm just like, okay, like this is kind of weird. So the fact that the music was just in that moment, it was just so funny that it it flipped Soldier Boy's switch because then he wasn't able to use his beam at the time when it really mattered. Which when Homelander was in the picture.
Yeah. And I love that moment when Soldier Boy first meets Homelander and he's like, "You think you look strong? You're wearing a cape." And then during the fight, he actually grabs his cape and pulls him down to the ground. I thought that was hilarious because that's something that you always think about, but it's never really actually done because I think a lot of superhero movies take themselves too serious.
Yeah.
So and that was a big moment in the Incredibles way back when Edna was very adamant about no capes.
Oh yeah.
And there
No
was that
capes.
whole montage of people dying because their cape was getting caught in places. So I think that's what we need to see. Next time we see Superman or Shazam in a movie or anybody with a cape, somebody needs to grab it. Well, you know what?
Right.
Somebody grabbed Batman's cape and they grabbed his cape. I don't remember, but somebody grabbed Batman's cape in either Batman vs Superman or The Batman, which came out this year. So,
I have to
you
say
see it
though,
sometimes.
I was saying it before we hopped on the pod, but Homelander probably has one of the best capes I've seen. Not like not like the uh not like the pattern on it, but I'm talking about like the construction of the actual cape.
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
the way his cape flows is actually pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie. Better than Superman's cape. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, his cape looks really good. Even when the moments when you know it's CGI, like when he's flying around and stuff, it still looks really good. And that's
Word.
that's the thing about this show in general is the effects have all been great. They really
Right.
know when to use practical and they know when to use CGI, and it's all great. I look at some of the behind the scenes stuff, and one of the VFX guys was explaining how they did one of the scenes. It was that moment where Homelander is supposed to be giving a speech, and everybody's outside. I think it was from season 2, and everybody was mad at him. And then there was that guy that was in the military that gave him the middle finger, and he had that vision, and it's when he like lasers the whole crowd. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that scene, and the guy was explaining how outside that day it was really cold, so you could see everybody's breath coming out. But in the show, it was just supposed to be like normal, I guess, summer or spring or normal weather. So they actually had to take out everybody's like breath that you can see, and they were putting signs in people's hands and doing all kind of stuff in CGI. I was like, wow, that was crazy, and you can't tell at all.
Yeah, you can't.
And it's not even one of those things where you could pause it and kind of find little things. Like, no, you cannot tell at all. It's crazy. So that's really nice to see from a TV show.
Yeah, you're right. Like the CGI is definitely on another level. Like you can tell where the money's going. Like there's no question about it. honestly, this is some of the better CGI that I've seen, and like the better like set designs that I've
Yeah.
seen as well.
Hey, even
Because
Game of Thrones had some low moments.
I feel like even Marvel,
Oh yeah,
Marvel and like the recent properties, like the CGI has just not been keeping up.
we can talk about Marvel CGI forever.
Yeah. We can't talk about Marvel CGI, but I just feel like you can really tell where you can really tell that the CGI dollars are present in this show and that they're using it correctly. What was I gonna say? It's so much stuff in the season that happened. We haven't even spoken about like Ryan yet and everything going
Yeah,
on with him.
yeah, man. His his story is making me nervous too, because in the end he is with Homelander. So
Yeah,
it's one of those things where is he gonna end up growing up like him, or is Butcher gonna get him back? Because we know he's gonna have the same powers. So I mean, that's just one of those things, man. We're preparing for the future around here. So you know, and now with Soldier Boy out of the picture, Ryan is the biggest gun that can take out Homelander.
right, right. And then like the thing is, this season, I don't know. Like Ryan is the closest thing that can take out Homelander, but now like Ryan's on Homelander's side. So it's really like low key. It's like twice the threat, especially with the way that things ended in the very last seconds of the season.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the crazy moment. That was hilarious, and it's become a big meme on the internet right now with
Oh
Homelander,
yeah,
a guy in front of a crowd of people and they cheer, which is
yeah,
hilarious because he's had that thing where he says I can do whatever I want, and if people just let him do it, he's gonna do it even more,
right,
and he's actually gonna start to believe it instead of wanting that to happen. But he obviously has fans that really will just cheer for him if he does whatever. And I talked a little bit about the comics before and how I don't like them, but one thing that I did like, which I was kind of hoping that they would do in the show, but I know that what they're not going to do that now is, well, maybe, depending. I don't know if you know this, but in the comics for the boys, Black Noir was a clone of Homelander, and that was the big reveal, like at the end.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
showed Black Noir without his costume, and in the end, it's revealed he's a clone, so he looks exactly like Homelander, and but he was actually stronger than Homelander. So what he did was he would put on Homelander's suit and go out and commit atrocities. And that
right,
the whole time that was feeding to Homelander's mental illness and stuff
hmm,
because he's seeing videos of himself, killing people, doing crazy stuff, and he doesn't even remember if that was him when he did certain things, and that was really just contributing to his mental state. And I think that would have been amazing to see, especially not like if you're someone who never even read the comics. And I didn't find that out till after season 3 aired anyway. So,
okay,
but I think that would have been really cool. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad that they're going in a different direction because they've been great, the whole time doing that. And I really think they've handled everybody pretty well, even though Black Noir, as we know it, is dead. I mean, but they could still do that story because they said that he's coming back. So maybe that's what Vault is cooking up. They're going to cook up a clone of Homelander and they're going to put him in the Black Noir suit. So
right.
maybe
I
maybe that'll happen in season 4.
The thing is, like, that was actually the one thing that I was really hoping for this season. But then at the same time, I feel like this kind of reveal would have been too soon. Because
Yeah,
I
it definitely
heard,
would have been.
yeah, because I feel like this the way this show is going, like season 3 is definitely like the peak. So it's like I feel like this is like the middle of like the whole story that's
Yeah,
going on. I could see like possibly like 2 more seasons
yeah.
of this show.
I was about to say I
Um,
don't really see the show running longer than 5 seasons.
Yeah, like I feel like 5 seasons would be perfect run for the show. I was thinking that like at least the fight with Homelander wouldn't was gonna be like an actual fight and not like not like just like one punch and he's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But I think it works because the whole time they've been establishing that Homelander is the strongest guy, and Nobody can take him out.
Yo,
So
I was gonna say something about that earlier. I was like, I feel like the power scale in this season was like a little off. You know what I mean? Like
what do you mean?
so like Butcher and Huey were able to like together hold down Homelander. You know what I mean? At least for like a brief second.
Yeah,
But like the way they made it seem, they almost made it seem like Homelander was like untouchable in a way. And then also because like bro, like low key this season everybody got their licks in.
yeah.
Butcher Butcher got his licks in. I think Huey might have gotten a couple. Maeve definitely got hers in.
No, Huey
Um.
definitely did because in that first scene when he was teleporting, he took out a bunch of guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, but I'm talking about against Homelander.
Hmm.
Yeah, like yeah. I think Huey got like one or two or something like that. And then Maeve definitely got hers in the season finale. And then Soldier Boy got his in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't even know what Supersonic's powers were.
they never showed his powers.
They never showed. Like I thought he was a speedster.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was because I was like supersonic. I mean, maybe he had a loud voice or something because he was a singer. Maybe he was like a Black Canary type power.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, but like Supersonic, like this man was torn to pieces. You know, that was another off-screen like death. You know what I mean? But like Butcher and Huey, like they're not even soups. Like they were just on the temporary V, and like they were fine against Homelander. You know what I mean? Like they're actually landing hits, and I feel like with somebody like Black Noir, I thought Black Noir was a lot more durable than they made him seem in that one scene.
Which scene?
The scene where Homelander like supposedly killed him.
Yeah, that's why I'm holding on to the fact that he might not be dead because we've seen him survive worse.
Right,
He literally got blown up and was still alive, and he was
right.
just standing there. So I mean, hopefully it's our boy Irving in there next season. But yeah, we talked about Homelander. Homelander is so he's such an interesting character, and Anthony Starr does such a great job. I don't know why that guy isn't in more stuff. I mean, he's
Yo,
insane.
bruh, Anthony Starr. I was like, yo, he definitely should be in the running for like villain of the year.
Yeah, like
Um,
he's insane. I don't even know how he acts like that. I mean, Homelander, he's one of those people you always want him to be on screen. I mean, he's just so perfect.
I feel like his character is so believable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
And
he
he's so
under
like unsettling.
yeah.
He's so unsettling. You just never know if or when he's gonna snap. It's just so crazy. And I looked up Supersonic's powers. Apparently, he has a sonic clap. By clapping his hands together, Supersonic could generate powerful sound waves. He appears
Wow.
to have great control over the intensity of each sound wave produced by his claps. His powers were demonstrated in the Rock My Kiss music video, produced in 2008 by the Vault Music Group. Okay, whatever.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
but yeah, Homelander is crazy. And speaking of crazy moments, I'm gonna because there's so many, I can't think of them all at the same time. That time when he killed the fake Daredevil guy, oh my goodness, the blind guy. Do you remember that? I think it was in season two.
Wait, which one was this?
That blind guy when Ashley introduced him to Homelander because they needed somebody for the seven, and there's that blind guy who's like he's basically a Daredevil reference. He's got that staff and he's doing flips and tricks, and Homelander's acting like he's gonna accept him, and then he
Yo,
just like slaps his head, and you just see all the blood coming out of his ears. That was
wait,
crazy.
wait, wait. I'm trying to remember.
I forgot the guy's name. His name was like Blind Spot or something.
Oh man, I gotta go back. I gotta go back and watch that because
Yeah, his name was Blind Spot. He just like clapped his head and completely destroyed his ears. And all you see is the blood coming out. Like, yeah, he definitely died. If he didn't die, he's like Helen Keller now because he can't see or hear.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I gotta go back and check that out because I can't like recall that at the moment.
No, that was crazy.
I'm speaking of like replacements for the seven. I'm like still waiting to see like how powerful the deep actually is because we haven't really seen any display of like his power or like what he can do.
I mean, in theory, he'd be pretty powerful because he's strong, he's pretty durable, and he
Right.
can control all the sea life, just like Aquaman. But they always treat him like a joke, so we never really see him fight anybody.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen A Train fight at least like twice, and then
A Train is pretty powerful.
yeah, so that's the thing, right? I feel like A Train doesn't act like he's the second strongest on the team when he should, because like everybody knows that speedsters are extremely powerful.
Yeah. And I was gonna bring this up. I was gonna say, well, who do you think will win a fight, A Train or Queen Maeve?
I think it's A Train.
But he's just so fast. Because the only thing is, I don't think he's faster than Homelander. Like
Um,
Homelander is so fast that because he's basically like Superman. So if A Train isn't faster than him, then he'd be screwed against Homelander.
yeah, that's true.
But I think against like Queen Maeve, but Queen Maeve is strong too, and so was Stormfront. Like Queen Maeve, Stormfront were
Storm
strong.
Stormfront. I thought that her power set was almost equivalent to that of Homelander's.
Well, yeah, because she could fly, but she just had the electricity instead of
Yeah,
laser eyes. But she was able to take the laser eyes too.
right. Well,
So she was
actually,
strong.
she could take. I think
They could take
it's
it for
it's
a little bit.
it's either that Ryan's eyes burn hotter than Homelander's, or
Well, he couldn't
she.
control it, remember? So he
Yeah.
just gave it like a full blast. And that's why she was all destroyed.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's either Ryan's eyes burn hotter than Homelander's, or she's just only like that durable for a period like a certain amount of time.
Well, yeah, and even that part when Homelander lasered her, you could kind of see like if he would have kept doing it, it would have, started to do damage. But you could see that Homelander is able to do it with precision. And when Ryan did it, it was more like a blast in all directions, not really
Right.
like two beams coming straight from the eyes. So that was the difference. He really used all the power he had in that moment. We talk a lot about Homelander, but another character that I am very glad is getting signed recently in the show and on the internet with all these memes is A Train. He low key is probably the second best character in the show besides Homelander. I mean, he has been through a lot from season one when they broke his leg. Well, first in the opening of the show, he runs through Robin, and then he gets his leg broken by Kimiko, kills Pop Claw. What else did he do? He had the heart issue from using all the V,
Compound V. Yeah.
and then his big moment in season three was before that he was having little issues because he couldn't run and he was getting fat, and Homelander had to give him like a little talking to.
Oh yeah.
And he also
He's fully as that.
the fake the reference to that Coke commercial. Which one was that? Kendall Jenner, the Coke
Yo,
commercial.
that was so
Hilarious,
funny.
hilarious. Or was it Pepsi? Either way, it doesn't matter.
Just
And then his big moment was also during Hero Gasm when he killed Blue Hawk for paralyzing his brother. He did the Mortal Kombat move of dragging him across the floor while running.
yeah, that was a
Amazing.
fatality. But he ended up almost dying, and the thing that was ironic was he woke up in the hospital and they actually replaced his heart with Blue Hawk's heart,
Yep.
which is crazy.
Yep. Hey, but at least he got a super heart.
Right.
Now the A trade is back, baby.
Bruh. A trade. Oh man.
He be
I
king.
think you said it before. Yeah, this man definitely has the worst suit.
Yeah, his suit is ridiculous. It's so funny.
It's really the glasses for me. Like I just hate those glasses so much.
To me, the glasses aren't even bad. It's the freaking like glove arm things. Those are terrible.
And then
Like
on
at
top
least
of that,
glasses make sense.
I mean, yeah, because like I feel like speedsters do need glasses. It's those like glass plates that are like randomly placed across his torso.
Yeah, yeah, that's terrible. That's
Bruh.
terrible.
I'm like throw my guy in some leather. Call it. Like the suit underneath those glass platings is like dry fit.
Yeah, but
Like
they do it
literally.
because he would look ridiculous just being in a spandex outfit.
I mean, yeah, but like why dry fit?
So
Like why not like, you know,
they got to do
some
something.
some good
But
leather.
I don't know, man. But leather doesn't look fast. Leather is like heavy and slow.
Yo, but like the Flash is in leather, right? Or
Yeah,
is
in
that
the
like
CW show, but that's not
yeah.
a good suit.
Some of them weren't bad. Some of them weren't bad. I think they're about like how many suits? 10? I
In
think
the
about three.
Flash?
Yeah, there was a new suit every season.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
I think like 3 out of the 10 suits were good.
Man, yeah, there's a lot to talk about in this show, man. I mean, I'm thinking I'm remembering more and more as we keep talking about it
I know.
of that
I'm going
moment
through the notes
when
and
they
I'm
were
just like,
shooting the movie and it looked like A-Train was talking to Homelander and then he turns around and it's a stunt double. So funny.
oh my gosh.
And then the whole reference to the Snyder Cut was funny too, that whole deal.
Yeah, A Train is definitely like there's always like a punching bag each season, and I feel like last season like the punching bag was the deep, and like this season like
Yeah.
they kind of eased off him a little bit, only a little bit though because there were some scenes that were just crazy, like
Yeah, well, they still
when
made him eat the octopus. And he was like, he's pleading for his life.
yo, Deep is crazy, bro. His character is just so nuts, but like
He also had relations with an octopus too.
yeah,
And then he asked this girl if the octopus could join their relationship.
she was like no,
So crazy, bro.
yeah,
Yeah, that whole
um,
deal with him joining the cult was funny too. They made this
oh
man
oh.
go on a freaking shroom trip and then join a cult.
Bro.
And then A Train didn't even have to do nothing to get back into seven.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah, that was
didn't.
in season two.
Yeah, like I feel like this season A Train was definitely like the punching bag, especially with everything going on with Blue Hawk and him trying to be heard by speaking out in like the different group settings, and then we're just being like, "What are you talking about?" Or like, even the fact that like when they had that meeting, A Train brought up Blue Hawk for the first time about the over policing in the Trenton area, and then the Deep brought up the fact that A Train was being too uptight or something like that about Blue Hawk and his actions. And say it was last season, anything that the Deep was saying like in a meeting, like anybody would just not acknowledge it. But the fact that the
Yeah,
Deep said
yeah.
something this season, like if I was A Train, I would have been hot. Especially because like the Deep was out of the picture for a decent amount of time, and like he just came back. No, we didn't talk about Compound V or like the negative effects of that. This season was there was so much packed into this season,
There's
and
so many layers.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, I can't believe this season was only 8 episodes.
Yeah, there was a lot. So one of the main plot points in this season was about Billy Butcher and Huey taking temporary Compound V, which gave them powers for 24 hours. But later we find out that it actually rots your brain, and if you take it too many times, then you're gonna die. And at the end of the season, we find out that Butcher only has about a year to live. So
Because all the V that he took.
yeah, took the V one too many times, and we know he's probably gonna die.
Yeah, I think Huey took maybe
He took it
two or
like one
three.
less time than the fatal amount is.
Yeah, one less time than the fatal amount. Honestly, I think it was either one or two. I'm only saying that because like Butcher was on the V by himself at first. Like he definitely took it by himself when he went up against Gunpowder.
Yeah, he did. He took it like 5 times.
Yeah. So then
Took it
I don't know
against Gunpowder. He took it in the Russian place. He took it against Homelander and Hero Gasm.
if
Took it at the end, which was 4. might have took it another time, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. The negative effects of the temporary compound V. Both Huey and Butcher had black goo dripping out of their ear.
Yeah.
It was actually a very like horrifying visual, if I'm being honest. Imagine like black earwax, but like of a different like consistency, like a more like liquidy consistency. I
Yeah.
would have been freaked out.
Crazy.
Okay, so onto the regular compound V now, right? Victoria Newman, the congresswoman, had Homelander get her a vial so she can inject her daughter with it, so that way her daughter can have powers to protect herself and stuff. I thought this
Yeah,
was
that
like
was
a
pretty crazy.
yeah. I thought the scene was like a very interesting scene, and it was so sad too because you saw how much like it pained Victoria Newman have to do that to her daughter, but the fact being that like it wasn't really safe out there, especially going down the path that Victoria Newman was eventually gonna go down, like she wanted to make sure that her daughter had the tools that she needed to take care of herself.
Yeah, and it was actually causing her daughter physical pain, at least it looked like, because she was like crying and yelling in pain.
Right.
She injected the V.
It looked painful though.
Yeah,
The way they animated the back and how like the back would move.
yeah.
Yeah, like, that was
And
crazy.
that's the thing that's not really touched on when it comes to the compound V is that you can't predict the effects, right? So I know you watch Diabolical.
Yeah.
So there was an episode in Diabolical which was about the rejects that took compound V. So basically anybody that didn't have a desirable power and they had really messed up bodies and
Oh,
stuff. So,
yeah.
and for those of you that don't know, The Boys Diabolical is an animated anthology show that they released a few months before season 3. So it's about an hour and a half in all. There's probably like 6 short films, I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of short films, and each one takes place somewhere in the boys universe, and it kind of touches on different aspects of the world that aren't really explored in the show. So the one episode showed that there's these rejects that their parents gave their children compound V, but they got a messed up power. There was a guy who literally had a speaker for a head. There was a guy with boobs for a face. There was a guy there was a guy who moved in slow motion. So instead of being a speedster, he was just slow.
Oh, that
He
was so
moved
funny.
in literal slow motion. There was a person that turned into a human-sized tongue. So these are all powers that are really messed up, and
And
they're not really good for anything. So
the fact is that like you don't know like at all what power you're gonna get when you take compound V, which is why like I thought it was so weird that Butcher got the power set that he did, and he ended up with the powers that he got. You know what I
well, that's
mean?
more for theme, obviously.
Yeah, it's more to push the story along.
Yeah,
But
and
and plus like it's like why would you want to give your child like that? Why would you want to risk that in your child? And then I mean I don't know if you want to continue with the with the plot of the episode.
well, I wasn't gonna break down that whole episode, but I was just bringing up how there's people with undesirable powers, and that might happen to Victoria's daughter because we didn't see what her power is.
Oh,
We just saw that something was happening. It was painful. So who knows what's gonna happen? She could have teeth coming out her whole body or something.
yo,
It could be something gruesome and ugly. Like there was that one guy who could turn into any animal. You think is gonna be like Beast Boy, right? No, he turns into an animal, but he also has the brain of that animal. So he turns into a gorilla. Guess what? Now he's a gorilla. You can't talk to him. He can't talk back. He doesn't know anything.
that's
So I mean,
crazy.
he used it for comedic effect in the episode, but
Right.
they could also take it a very different direction. And since we did mention Diabolical, I gotta say I really liked it. Everybody should watch it, especially if you like the boys. Then
Right.
definitely watch Diabolical. And there is one episode that shows the backstory with two very important characters. I'm not even going to mention it right now, but there's an episode that really dives into the history of two very important characters, and yeah, it's really good. And so yeah, watch Diabolical, and I guess back to the main
Mm-hmm.
show. We
We were
talked
talking about
about that.
Compound V.
And Victoria's daughter, we don't know what's gonna happen with her.
But like in the show, right? It was two instances where we saw Compound V a lot in the temporary form and in the regular form this season. And we spoke before about how Kimiko got hit by Soldier Boy's beam, and I think what it does is it burns the Compound V out of you. So like Kimiko was powerless at the time that she woke up in the hospital after she got hit, and like powerless in the sense where like she could no longer lift things the way she used to. She could no longer heal the way she used to, and
Yeah,
like things that hit her like actually hurt. Like she could actually feel stuff. And at the end of the show, in order to help out the group, like she chose to take Compound V again in order for her power stuff to be restored.
right.
Which
And that worked really well because it was a contrast with Huey, how Huey always felt like he needed to save Starlight, right? So he had this like insecurity thing going on where he didn't want to be saved by a girl. So he had this thing where he felt like he needed to have powers to feel like her equal or something.
right,
But so in short, you had him who wanted to get powers for selfish reasons, and you had Kimiko who wanted to get powers for selfless reasons. So that's why Starlight gave her the V and was mad about Huey taking the V. And I really like how in the end, in the final fight of the final episode, you had Huey who was contemplating taking the V to help out in the fight, but since he knew about the brain issue, he was really using it as a last resort. And instead of taking the V, he ended up turning up all the electricity in the room, basically making Starlight more powerful.
right.
So I think that was a really nice finish to the story for them.
What you mentioned being not wanting to be saved by like a girl and like what it was doing to him. Like he was really denying that part throughout the
Right,
whole season. But then
right.
like he really accepted it toward the end of the season, and I thought that one scene when like he saw Starlight and he saw that like she can do what she had to do, but she just needed a little bit of help, and the fact that he was able to help her in that moment, I thought tied in really well to the decision to him not taking the V.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't really talk about Mother's Milk or Frenchie. I definitely enjoyed that moment where Mother's Milk punched what's his face, his his daughter's stepdad.
Oh yeah.
Because that guy is a total asshat. So
Yeah. That was a
I really
that was
enjoyed
a
that moment.
clean like one punch. My guy was out.
Yeah, and he really got a lot of shine this season too. I think in season 1 and 2 he didn't get as much shine, but again they really gave everybody
Yeah,
meaningful
they gave
moments.
everybody their moment this season. Yeah.
It was really nice. So yeah, his whole deal with his family and his daughter, and the whole deal with Soldier Boy killing his family. I think all that was really good. And then you have Frenchie. We kind of had his deal with his past troublings coming out again, and that was also a crazy action scene when Kimiko killed all those guys when Frenchie was tied up.
Oh yeah, because Kimiko didn't even have like she didn't even have the V in her at that point in time.
Yeah, she didn't, right? She didn't have
She
powers.
didn't have the V. No, she was just going based off of like the combat training that she learned when she was part of that camp.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Bro,
Cause she was
she
like
did.
getting stabbed, bro.
I mean, yeah, like okay, so like she was getting stabbed, but I think that's based off of like how she was fighting before. Like before, like she was fighting before the way she would fight is like she didn't use any defense because she knew that was pointless. Like she would just heal. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
she's fighting in the same kind of style, where it's like you know how to fight, but you just don't know how to use defense. So like the lack of defense was the only thing that was like killing her in this instance. But I really think that Kimiko she was using the combat skills that she like gained, while she was like being turned into a weapon
Yeah.
from wherever like camp that she came from, or like because I think it was like a terrorist group. to whatever group that she came from and whatever training she got. Like she used the training in the moment, but she just didn't have her strength, which I thought was a really cool. Like when she broke it down later on in the show, and she was like, I realized that like Compound V didn't make me who I am. Like I was already that person. Like that was like a good like pre like peek into that moment. You know what I mean? Like just to see like how she could fight and how she can handle stuff when even without her powers. Yeah, Kimiko, like she was one of my favorites this season. I feel like we didn't get as much as we did in the past. If I'm not mistaken. I think I enjoyed her character the most this season out of any of the other seasons that we've had her. I was definitely scared for her for like a long while this season, especially with the introduction of like Lil Nina and like that one scene that I was just breaking down. Like I didn't expect it to go the way it did. Like I thought someone was gonna die, either Frenchie's old girl or Kimiko.
Yeah,
Yo, I'm just thinking about like how well written this show really has been so far because like
it's insane.
it's literally the stuff we can talk about. We can go on and on for hours about this show if we're being honest and about everything that really happened this season and everything that went down, all the different character developments, all the different story arcs that happened, who who's developing with who, like whose chemistry was really like standing out this season, which two characters. Yeah, like this show is just so well written, and I think that's what really makes it like one of my favorite shows this year. It's just the writing. The writing was just incredible, and it really had like the visuals that could really back it up, and it could really depict the writing perfectly. Honestly, shout out to like the showrunner, shout out to the actors. Like this was really a really well put together show.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody that worked on this show did a great job. And like I always say, if any show, you can have all the crazy stuff, you can have all the action, you can have all the CGI set pieces and all this, you know, people blowing up that you want. But if the writing isn't strong, there's no way you're gonna keep an audience coming back episode after episode and year after year. So
Right.
that just shows you how great the show is, and I can't wait for more. I mean, I'm really excited for season 4. As of recording this, came out either today or yesterday that they started filming season 4. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping we could get it by late 2023. We're probably going to get it like early 2024, but I'd rather them take their time than put out garbage. So
Right. Especially after like a three season run that we've seen
mhm.
so far. Like this is like a definition of a clean 3 season run. Yeah. But I'm sure they'll take their time, and I'm sure that they're gonna put a lot of thought into season 4 because it's definitely gonna be one of the more important seasons, especially with how season 3 ended out. Like there's a lot of questions that need to be answered next season. Yeah.
I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything.
At least everything that we wrote down.
Yeah, we're talking about Hero Gasm. Queen Maeve lost an eye. So,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have to be a superhero or a fake superhero anymore. So I guess it's a happy ending for her.
Right. Until Homelander finds her.
Right. So hopefully Butcher can get Ryan back on in his good graces next year or next season. So yeah, all in all, I think season 3 was like a 10 out of 10. I think the show overall is like a 9 out of 10. One of the best superhero shows, probably my favorite superhero show. At least in terms of live action, is probably my favorite. Because I honestly, at this point, I think it's better than Daredevil. What else? I don't know why I can't think. I think it's better than Watchmen, Daredevil. Because that to me, because Daredevil was like the number one, right? Like who is gonna dethrone Daredevil? I personally, I think I like the boys better. It's just so insane. You can't. There's nothing that compares. So yeah, I really love this show. I'm excited for next season. So yeah, that's really it. I'm gonna have to give this show a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, honestly, I might give this show a full 10. I think I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Only because it hasn't disappointed me.
No, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. Like there's things I could nitpick about mostly in season 2, but
right,
like overall, I mean, you can't really get much better than this.
right. I feel like outside of like I think like Kimiko's scenes, and also the scene from Harrygasm with between Butcher, Homelander, Soldier Boy, and Huey. I feel like outside of those scenes, the the action from Daredevil definitely has it.
In terms of martial arts, I think so.
Right. Yeah. In terms of martial arts and like choreographed,
Yeah, fights.
the
But
choreographed fights. Yeah.
in terms of like just action in general, I think a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff that happens in The Boys is insane. And
Right.
and and I didn't even mention the moment where Homelander lets the plane go down. I mean, that
Oh
was one of
yeah.
the most insane scenes. See, like, because we've been to talk about season 3, but if you go back to season 1 and 2, I mean, it's just so crazy. That scene where Homelander lets the plane crash, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of martial arts, Daredevil is number one,
Right.
period. But this is definitely like top 2, top 3. So yeah, we actually got a viewer question. Someone on Instagram asked us,
Well, we got a
um,
mailbag. Okay.
yeah, someone asked us, will you do a podcast with a live audience interaction? Well, that sounds like a stream. So maybe one day, I
Maybe
don't
one
know,
day we could do a stream.
we might have to get on Twitch and come talk to some folks. Eventually, yeah, definitely. I might play the game on there too. So
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to hop on Twitch one of these days.
definitely, definitely. So
Cool.
yeah,
No, that's
speaking of
cool
that,
though.
everybody send us questions, ask us, our takes on anything, any type of movie, show. Send us questions about it, what we think, because we're mostly gonna talk about what's the hot thing at the moment in terms of the full episode. But if there's any movie you want to know if I like it or if I saw it or whatever, you know, ask us any type of question. I mean, I'll answer anything if I have an answer for it. So, send us stuff. Tell us stuff that we should watch and talk about. Any type of interaction really helps. I mean, I like when people send us stuff. We respond to anybody who comments on their Instagram posts or mentions us on Twitter. So, all that is all fun. So, I guess that's it. Your boys Stefan and Adrian, we are out.
Thank you guys for listening, and tune in next time for what we got in store.